Hey there, my name is Rachel Allen and I'm an integrative lifestyle coach. I love to get to work with people just like you who are ready to make a change in their life, whether it's mentally, physically, or spiritually. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about is about mindset. And I love to talk about this because I did not really understand that my thinking over time, my habits, or created my habits, I should say, my behaviors in the outer world. And that when I started to kind of clean up my life in a lot of areas, it took a process, it took time, it took rethinking, re-identifying myself with new ways of behaving, and then implementing those behaviors and watching for the evidence of. I know that we can't always look to the outer world as we move through the process, because sometimes what's happening is the evidence of the old is still being cleansed out, yes? However, through due diligence and through persistence and through a willingness to own what is manifest in my life, then I become more and more apt or more available to reset that thought, reset, reclaim, repurpose the vision. Knowing the life that I grew up in and the childhood experiences that I had, and moving through my late teenage years into my early adulthood as a young parent, as a woman who was suffering from basically agoraphobia, and knowing that I took on a lot of what would be perceived as victim consciousness in my life, I look to life as things that were happening to me. I never felt that I was cause. I never understood the spiritual principle that I am cause. The divine within me is the creator of all things. I don't get to pick and choose, and I know that this can be a very broad topic, especially when there's been trauma in a life or abuse in a life. However, when I can own on some level that the causative nature within me has brought me about to have life experiences so that I can heal, transcend, and rise above, then all of a sudden mindset becomes more of a science rather than the emotional attachment to it. As much as fear, doubt, and worry launch certain behaviors or patterns, and as much as enlightenment or spiritual awakening processes or spiritual experiences also invite certain levels of frequency or aptitude or behaviors, it's finding that ground that allows me to observe what I've created, own all of what has been created in my life, and learn to readjust, realign with a greater frequency so that I can heal, so that I can move through and not feel subject to. I know a lot of what's going on in our culture today, a lot of things are happening to us rather than through us. And the difficult part or the challenging part of that thought process is that sense of powerlessness, right? There are certain things that I can awaken to or realize that I am powerless over. However, I know that my mindset, my physical body, my spiritual aptitude or understanding are absolutely within my locus of control. And when I can own that and practice the new mindsets, then I get evidence of those new mindsets in the material world, in the manifest world. I cannot, I guess I can. I cannot afford to, I'm going to use the word cannot. I cannot afford to say that principle is applicable here, but not applicable here. I cannot afford to say in my life that this is where divine mind is and there is no divinity here. Or I manifested that, but I didn't manifest that. Until I really moved into a space of appreciation for all that was creative or all that was in my life, did I become really, truly free. I get to own the light and the dark. We talk about the yin and the yang in a lot of cultures, in a lot of traditions. And when I can embrace and understand that, when I can look at all parts of myself, all of the challenges, all of the difficulties, I'm going to use the word deficiencies, then I can invite the divine into those areas and reset my behaviors, reset my thought processes, reevaluate how I'm taking care of myself, and really look for the new ideas. when I became a student of metaphysics or New Thought, or even started studying individuals like Les Brown or Jim Rohn, or the classics, we talked about the classics, the people who really understood the sense of what is within our locus of control, and they shared that so openly. It invited me to move away from this idea that because of my childhood, certain things were just going to be my life experience, or because I had panic attacks, my life was going to be limited. I lived that very small way for a very long time in my life, and let me tell you, the emptiness was painful. It was debilitating. It was energetically draining. But when I began to put my mind on that which I chose, then all of a sudden the inspiration, the information, the books, the opportunities began to just kind of pour forth. I remember when I first was ready to step into the Centers for Spiritual Living, and I was a part of a community in Southern California, and I was ready, I was willing. I started going to Sunday services, and I began just kind of showing up and leaning in and putting my toe in. I actually first joined a choir because I wanted to come back to singing. And out of that, I met this beautiful woman, Linda, I'll never forget. And she actually took care of my first series of classes. She paid for, because in my mindset, I didn't have the money for it. She paid for my class and purchased my book so that I had, basically, I'm going to use the words, no excuse to not be present to that 8-week series. That was the launching pad for me. That was the very beginning of me broadening my understanding of who I am and what I am as a representative of the divine and my creative nature. And it took, I'm going to say, years longer over time through continued studies and continued willingness to practice or apply what I was learning and continue to learn today, and to continue to research the truth, did my life begin to really change. And that evolution, internal to external change continues to happen in my life. But it all began with just an inspired thought of things. I wanted things to be different. I think maybe some of you have heard, I remember sitting here in Tucson, Arizona, where I was pregnant as all get up with my son, and I was rocking in a chair, just knowing in my mind that something had to be different. I knew that there was different opportunities for me than what my current condition was. And through that willingness, tapes were sent to me in the mail from Dr. Richelieu. Actually, my mom's recordings of Dr. Richelieu. And it was like all of the tools necessary for this evolution began to show up. And that, for me, is that we talk about the reticular activating system, the physical confirmation that I'm on the right path, the physical confirmation that which I'm seeking is seeking me, the evidence of the inner nod to the external nod, right? You may be hearing my puppy right now. So the opportunity for me is to continue to be checking my mindset and to continue to look for evidence of. And that does not always include sometimes the healing process. Sometimes things can look worse before they get better. However, it's still the opportunity to say, what was I just thinking that I'm now experiencing this? It's the opportunity for me to continue to revisit those mindsets because it is a practical not so practical behavioral shift, because I have to continue to do the work that allows me to create the new grooves mentally, physically, and spiritually. And I'm going to say first, mental or spiritual first, and then the physical, the evidence. A lot of times we do look to the evidence of things in life and say because of that, or this is evidence of my lack of shift. And once again, I have to look at all of it and be true to, and I think this is where the mentor-mentee relationship is really important. I had mentors who held my feet to the fire, who continue to hold my feet to the fire in terms of looking at evidence in my life. What is my part? What is it that I could be growing from, learning from, and take those opportunities as they come up. So mindset, again, it's understanding what I'm thinking, understanding what that is doing in my life in terms of the creative nature of that thought, remembering that I am first cause. So if I'm not really aware of what I'm thinking, I can think those lower vibrational thoughts and still create the lower vibrational experiences and feel victim and feel like that's just the way it is, as opposed to trusting that inner nod and trusting that nature that is within me and researching those mindsets, those inspired thoughts, researching them. Look for the evidence of the truth, of the newness. Look for that. And when I began to research that, my mind shifted, my physical life changed, and I became more attuned again on a deeper level to my divinity. So with that, I just want to encourage everybody who may be struggling with something in their life that feels more real than ever. I just want to encourage you to look beyond the realness of it and to remember your divinity, and to remember that there is always more evidence of greater truth if you take the time. So reset your mind. And a great way, I'm going to also put in this a plug for hypnosis. I use a lot of hypnosis. I used it early on as I was overcoming panic disorder, but to this day I still use a lot of hypnosis because I understand that those thought processes, those belief systems are undercurrents, and I may not always be conscious of them as much as I can catch my thinking, I can catch what I'm feeling, I can look at the evidence of my life. I still need that mental reset, and a great time to do that, of course, is before you go to bed. Upon awakening in the morning, we want to really hit those I'm going to say less conscious, we want to get that we talk about the mind, conscious and subconscious mind. We're trying to heal the subconscious mind is really what we're doing. We're detoxing the thoughts that are really driving the bus. And so hypnosis is a powerful tool for that. I'll make sure I put a couple links there. If you are somebody who is looking to reset their mind and they're not really sure where to begin, know that you can always call me, text me. You can make sure you follow me, like my videos, share the video with anybody you may feel. I know there's a lot of people who get, I'm going to use the word stuck. They think they're stuck, I should say. And we're really not. We really have a lot of power. We have a lot of creative power. And if I can assist you or anyone you love, let me know. 520-270-0409 is my phone number. And you can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, and my website is rachelallen.coach. That's rachelallen.coach. Stay well, be well, and research the good. I promise it'll manifest. Have a great day.